Peace and welcome to the culture here on the Black Star Network. I'm your host, Farajii Muhammad. Thank you so much for tuning in and being a part of the conversation. Folks, we got a lot to talk about. First, let's talk about that bridge collapsing in my hometown of Baltimore. We'll give you the latest on that situation and what still needs to be done in regards to that. Plus, we'll share with you remarks from the governor as well as the president around that discussion, around that situation. Also, later, big culture convo. We're going to talk about what has already happened with Diddy, but more importantly, will black music culture suffer from this latest blow as we talk about these allegations, this raid, the investigation. We're going to be checking in with our sister Tasha, former radio DJ, to give us the latest on that. And then later on, we talk about the Sweet Jazz Festival and how one artist is using her voice to not only sing songs, but to empower the next generation. We'll have that conversation up next and later on the show as well. So stay with us. I'd love for you to join me in the chat as we're streaming live for Big Brother Roland Martin's Facebook page and his YouTube channel. And big shout out to the online culture crew for checking in. Stay with us. There's a lot to cover here on today's edition of The Culture right here on the Black Star Network. Let's go. All right, folks, welcome to The Culture here on the Black Star Network. I'm your host, Farajii Muhammad. Thank you so much for tuning in and being a part of the conversation. Folks, we got a lot to cover, but let me just share with you that if you haven't had a chance, make sure you go to our website today at blackstarnetwork.com. Download the app for free on Black Star Network. Make sure you follow us on social media at Black Star Network. And we ask that you give a little something if you enjoy the content, if you appreciate what we're doing, taking black media, taking our stories to the next level, especially in the digital space, then please, we ask for your support. And we thank you for all of those who have already given, but more importantly, we thank all of those who are considering giving to Black Star Network. So again, your support makes a world of difference. You can go to our website today at blackstarnetwork.com. We're also streaming live right now on Amazon platforms. Make sure you do your due diligence and check us out there. We're streaming live on Amazon using your Fire TV. On Amazon Prime Video, you can find us there on the Prime Video app under Live TV, The News, or find us on Amazon.com under Prime Video, then Live TV, The News. We're also streaming on Freevee Network. You can find us there. So find us on now under News for Black Star Network, as well as Plex TV. You can find us there on Plex TV 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Just search for Black Star Network, or find us on the Live TV, The News, and Opinion. There it is. There it is. All right, folks, let's talk about it. Big shout out to the online culture crew that's just gathering in the chat right now. We got so many of you that are just checking in, man, and we appreciate y'all, as always, for being a part of the conversation. And you could do the same, folks. Just join us right now on Big Brother Roland Martin's social media page. We're streaming live on his Facebook page. We're streaming live on his YouTube channel. And those are the spaces and the places where you can find the great online culture crew, where you could be a part of the conversation just as much as I'm a part of the conversation. We're having those discussions right now. So big shout out to the online culture crew. I see Ming, Lee, Natasha, Serge, Damon, Blissett, Pastor. Hope you had a great birthday yesterday, big brother. Brother Brian, Christian, Anastasia, Pageant. I see you. Pauline Hurt. I see you. You don't like my music. I see you. Who else we got here? Cindy D, Deidre Hall, Tiana. I see you. Ming, Lee, Natasha, Serge. I see you, Ming. Thank you for checking in as always. Lydia Brown. I see you. Thank you for checking in as always. Who else we got in the chat here? Karen, my sister Karen Connor. I see you. Shauna Marsh. Thank you so much as always. And folks, join us in the conversation. I'm looking forward to all of these folks having something to say as we have these discussions. First, let's talk a little bit about what's going on in the city of Baltimore, my hometown, as we saw a major bridge, the Francis Scott Key Bridge, folks. Those are the images right now as we speak. As you can see, there's a significant portion of the bridge that has fallen apart as a result of a ship that has hit one of the columns overnight. At approximately 1:30, 1:37 a.m. this morning, Eastern Standard Time, a ship ran into one of the columns, causing the bridge to collapse. Look at the photos here. And this was a situation that was totally unexpected, obviously, but more importantly, it's a situation where folks are just thanking God for not being on the bridge. And it was a blessing that this situation happened at a time where a lot of folks were traveling on the bridge. There are still about 6 people that are being searched for as we speak, but there has yet to be any casualties to this fall. But this was a major, major landmark of the state of Maryland. It is one of the main routes to get from northern Maryland to the southern Maryland, especially if you're traveling down to like the Ocean City area. And so this bridge was important, very, very important. I want to take a quick pause here. When we come back, I'd like to play some of the remarks from the Governor Westmore, as he speaks on it, as well as the president gave some remarks earlier today as well. So we're going to share those with you. So stay with us, folks. We still got a lot to cover in this first half of the culture here on the Black Star Network. We'll be right back.
Fanbase is pioneering a new era of social media and investment. This next generation social app has already raised $10 million and has just opened a new round to invest. For details on how to invest, visit startengine.com/fanbase or scan the QR code. Another way we're giving you the freedom to be you without limits.
As bad as Trump was, his economy was worse, and Black America felt it the most. He cut health insurance while giving tax breaks to the wealthy and big business. He stoked racial violence, attacked voting rights, and if reelected, vowed to be a dictator and, quote, get revenge. We can't go back. As president, I put money in pockets, creating millions of new jobs, and capped the cost of insulin at $35 a month. There's a lot more to do, but we can do it together. I'm Joe Biden, and I approve this message.
Game on. State of the Union 2024. Huge night for President Joe Biden.
This was a CVS receipts type of night.
He dragged the hell out of the Supreme Court. And he said, y'all gonna see the power of women.
Trump's brain is melting as we speak.
We want to organize from a place of strength.
There's no confusion whatsoever about what they've done and what they plan to do.
What Donald Trump is doing is presenting a fallacy.
He is convincing them that he's all in it for them, when in fact he's all in it for himself.
We do not feel Joe Biden, in spite of the success that have taken place during this administration economically. There are too many things where we do not feel like he's had our back.
You should also be investing in the barbershops and the beauty salons and the hookah bars and the folks who are going to the club, and there's a way to actually get them registered because we've done it before. But if you don't have folks who understand that dynamic, then you're missing a big opportunity.
So we said we just celebrated. For what? Why don't you go to Selma to celebrate rather than recommit yourself to the fight if the very thing we went to celebrate has been gutted?
Republicans did not support a lot of the bills that were necessary to keep the country fluid. You can't only love your country when you win, right?
Oh, no. You guys don't want another $2 trillion tax cut?
This was absolutely the knockdown, drag out that we were really waiting.
Black voters are the base. They're the most important base of the Democratic Party. There was very few language in this speech. At the time, we see an attack on Black history, attack on DEI. The end of the BLM racial reckoning thing has come to a complete end because there was nothing in this speech for that.
Our movement has never been grounded in two-party politics in this country. All of our movements ultimately get co-opted by a state that is anti-Black.
They called the old because they knew the way, and they called the young because they were strong. And I believe there is a good combination of that. But we can have ideas and we can have visions and dreams, but we have to have our young people also working beside us because they are strong and they will run that race and they will run it to the end.
Activists, organizers, and young people have been pushing this administration to be on the right side of history and to do something about the issues that they care about.
While the Ukraine and Palestine are critical issues, they are not the only global issues.
Not a single Black person who should ever let it come out their mouth that I'm tired. Because there is somebody else who came before us who didn't stop fighting.
All right, folks, welcome back to the culture here on the Black Star Network. I'm your host, Farajii Muhammad. We're talking about the bridge collapse in the state of Maryland, in my hometown of Baltimore. And this was a bridge collapse that happened overnight. It was around 1:30 a.m. in the morning when a ship knocked into a column, causing a significant part of the bridge to fall apart. Take a look at that. Can you take me off the screen, please, Lee? Take a look at the damage that was done, folks. Right now, it has been estimated that about 80 billion with a B, the $80 billion worth of cargo may be put on hold as a result of this mistake, as a result of this accident. So a lot of cargo will not be traveling through the port of Baltimore anytime soon because of this damage. But this was a major, major accident. There were some reports that even said that there were some power outages on that particular ship that ran into the bridge. And so the folks are there, of course, there are a number of investigations that are taking place right now. However, the number of people that were involved, there were about 7 people that are initially involved. One has already been found, but there has been about 6 people that are still missing from the situation. The Army Corps of Engineers is in touch with Baltimore, according to the Pentagon, so they're on the scene as well. And they're trying to get a sense of what may have happened or what happened on that at that time. I want to play just a little bit of what the Governor Wes Moore, had said of the collapse of the 1.6 mile long 4-lane bridge. Let's listen to what Governor Moore had to say.
First responders, I'm in awe of you. I'm in awe of your courage. I'm in awe of your strength. I'm in awe of everything you do for each and every one of us. You saw a crisis and you said, what can I do to help? And our response teams are doing everything in our power to rescue and recover the victims of this collapse, literally as we speak. People who, as we speak, are out there, are divers, are air assets, people who right now are working to save lives and are doing it because the state asked. And we will update the public as the work continues. To our partners inside and outside of government, I know this has been a long night. We started coordinating immediately after the Key Bridge collapsed. We've been standing together every step of the way, from our county leadership, to our city leadership, to our state leadership, to our federal leadership. And I'm grateful to call each and every one of you not just colleagues, but I'm grateful to call you friends. And to the people of Baltimore, and each and every one of the 6.3 million Marylanders who call our state home, I recognize that many of us are hurting right now. I recognize that many of us are scared right now. And so I want to be very clear about where everything stands. We are still investigating what happened, but we are quickly gathering details. The preliminary investigation points to an accident. We haven't seen any credible evidence of a terrorist attack. Our administration is working closely with leaders from all levels of government and society to respond to this crisis, and not but just by addressing the immediate aftermath, but also by building a state that is more resilient and a state that's more safe. That is our pledge, and that's our commitment, and we're going to keep that commitment. And lastly, to the victims of this tragedy and their loved ones, all of our hearts are broken. We feel your loss. We're thinking of you, and we will always be thinking of you. We pray for the construction workers who are on the Key Bridge, and we pray for everyone who has been touched by this tragedy and their families and all of their loved ones. But Maryland, we will get through this, because that is the Maryland spirit, and that's what Maryland is made of. We are Maryland tough, and we are Baltimore strong. So in the face of heartbreak, we come together. we embrace one another, and we come back stronger. That's what we've always done. That's what we'll continue to do. And that's what we're going to get done together. And we're going to pray for Baltimore. And I like
that was Governor Westmore giving his remarks about what happened over the night in regards to the collapse of the Francis Scott Key Bridge. Like I mentioned, it connects from northern Maryland to southern Maryland, one of the few routes that you can take to get to southern Maryland. According to the National Transportation Safety Board, the NTSB, they are still, and I just mentioned how some reports are saying that there was some sort of power outage on the ship, but NTSB Chief Jennifer Homendy, said that it's too early to tell if there were any type of power outages. And of course, an investigation is being held as a result of this. I also want to play for you very quickly what the president had to say about this and how he plans to show his support to rebuild the bridge, and more importantly, his support for the city of Baltimore and the state of Maryland. Take a listen.
Sorry to keep you waiting. I was waiting to talk to the last member of the delegation of the region. Good afternoon. Before I leave for North Carolina, which I'm going to do in a few minutes, I want to speak briefly about the terrible incident and accident that happened in Baltimore this morning. At about 1:30, container ship struck the Francis Scott Key Bridge, which I've been over many, many times commuting from the state of Delaware, either on a train or by car. I've been in Baltimore Harbor many times. And the bridge collapsed, sending several people and vehicles into the water, into the river. And multiple U.S. Coast Guard units, which are stationed very nearby, thank God, were immediately deployed along with local emergency personnel. And the Coast Guard is leading the response to the port, where representatives from the Federal Highway Administration, the FBI, the Department of Transportation, the Army Corps of Engineers, as well as Maryland officials and Baltimore Police and Fire, are all working together to coordinate an emergency response. Officials at the scene estimate 8 people were unaccounted for were unaccounted for. That number might change. 2 have been rescued, 1 without injury, 1 in critical condition. And the search and rescue operation is continuing for all those remaining as we speak. I spoke with Governor Moore this morning, as well as the Mayor of Baltimore, the county executive, both United States senators and the congressman. And my Secretary of Transportation is on the scene. I told them we're going to send all the federal resources they need as we respond to this emergency. I mean, all the federal resources. And we're going to rebuild that port together. Everything so far indicates that this was a terrible accident. At this time, we have no other indication, no other reason to believe there's any intentional act here. Personnel on board the ship were able to alert the Maryland Department of Transportation that they had lost control of their vessel, as you all know and reported. As a result, local authorities were able to close the bridge to traffic before the bridge was struck, which undoubtedly saved lives. Our prayers are with everyone involved in this terrible accident and all the families, especially those waiting for the news of their loved one right now. I know every minute in that circumstance feels like a lifetime. You just don't know. It's just terrible. We're incredibly grateful for the brave rescuers who immediately rushed to the scene, and to the people of Baltimore who want to say, we're with you. We're going to stay with you as long as it takes. And like the governor said, you're Maryland tough, you're Baltimore strong, and we're going to get through this together. And I promise we're not leaving. Here's what's happening now. The search and rescue operation is our top priority. Ship traffic in the Port of Baltimore has been suspended until further notice, and we'll need to clear that channel before the ship traffic can resume. The Army Corps of Engineers is on the spot and is going to help lead this effort to clear the channel. The Port of Baltimore is one of the nation's largest shipping hubs, and I've been there a number of times as a senator and as a vice president. It handles a record amount of cargo last year. It's also the top port in America for both imports and exports of automobiles and light trucks. Around 850,000 vehicles go through that port every single year, and we're going to get it up and running again as soon as possible. 15,000 jobs depend on that port, and we're going to do everything we can to protect those jobs and help those workers. The bridge is also critical for travel, not just for Baltimore, but for the Northeast Corridor. Over 30,000 vehicles cross the Francis Scott Key Bridge on a daily basis. It's virtually, it's one of the most important elements for the economy in the Northeast and the quality of life. My transportation secretary is there now. As I told Governor Moore, I've directed my team to move heaven and earth to reopen the port and rebuild the bridge as soon as humanly possible. And we're going to work hand in hand with the support of Maryland to support Maryland whatever they ask for. We're going to work with our partners in Congress to make sure the state gets the support it needs. It's my intention that the federal government will pay for the entire cost of reconstructing that bridge. And I expect the Congress to support my effort. This is going to take some time. The people of Baltimore can count on us, though, to stick with them at every step of the way until the port is reopened and the bridge is rebuilt. You know, we're not leaving until this job gets done. Not leaving until then. So I just want to say God bless everybody who everyone harmed this morning and their families. And may God bless the first responders, who many of them risking their lives. And the reason I'm not going to take a lot of questions, there's remaining issues that are open that we got to determine what's going to happen in terms of the rescue mission.
That was President Joe Biden giving his remarks on the bridge collapse earlier this morning. As you can hear from the president, a lot of traffic, 30,000 motorists travel over that bridge every day. And it is a major port for the country, especially on the East Coast. So there's a lot of work that has to be done. Cargo will be, as he said, suspended as a result of this tragedy and this accident. There are a number of different agencies that are on scene right now, including the Army Corps of Engineers, the National Transportation Safety Board, and many other agencies that are on a scene right now trying to figure out what happened. And more importantly, the city of Baltimore and the state of Maryland is looking forward to rebuilding the bridge, the significant route for a lot of Marylanders and folks outside of the state of Maryland. So we will certainly keep our eyes open, keep you up to date on everything that's been happening. And one of the things that I wanted to point out is the fact that according to the search and rescue efforts, the main priority from the STSB, which is the National Transportation Safety Board, they have mentioned that even though there are these numbers that are coming out, we just reported about 6 people. The priority for them has been on the people that there are at least 6 people that are still unaccounted for, but there may be more, there may be less. It's still being determined. So everything is still open investigation. And of course, we'll do our part here on the Black Star Network, here on the Culture, and we'll Unfiltered in other spaces here on the network to keep you up to date. We got to take a quick pause. When we come forward, let's shift gears. Let's talk about the latest that has happened in the developments of the case of Diddy. His house was raided yesterday. We saw some footage of him walking in an anxious manner. And there's a whole lot of conversation about the fate of not only Diddy, but the impact that it will have on Black music culture. So we're going to talk a little bit about that up next. Stay with us. It's The Culture here on the Black Star Network.
Fanbase is pioneering a new era of social media and investment. This next generation social app has already raised $10 million and has just opened a new round to invest. For details on how to invest, visit startengine.com/fanbase or scan the QR code. Another way we're giving you the freedom to be you without limits.
As bad as Trump was, his economy was worse, and Black America felt it the most. He cut health insurance while giving tax breaks to the wealthy and big business. As president, I put money in pockets and capped the cost of insulin at $35 a month. There's a lot more to do, but we can do it together.
I need you to scream for your new beginning. 5, 4, 3, 2. I need you to shout for it. I need you to shout for it. It won't always be like this. Sooner or later, it's gonna work in your brother's favor, in your sister's favor. They shall not die. They shall not die. They shall not die. I want you to embrace somebody and tell them welcome to the greatest season of your life. Hug somebody. Welcome.
All right, folks, welcome back to The Culture here on the Black Star Network. I'm your host, Farajii Muhammad. Thank you so much for tuning in and being a part of the conversation. All right, folks, let's shift gears a little bit for our big culture convo. Let's talk about what happened yesterday here in Los Angeles and in Miami as federal investigators raided the home of music mogul and American icon Sean Diddy Combs. That's right. His home was raided here in Los Angeles in the neighborhood of Holmby Hills. And his two sons, Justin and Kristen, were in the home at the time that the raid took place. And the authorities took those two individuals in handcuffs. And then his home was also raided in Miami. Two residences that he has on a secluded part of the city was raided as a result of their investigation of his involvement in a criminal enterprise of a sex trafficking organization. These charges are serious, to say the least. And this is all stemming from two lawsuits, one from his former lover, Cassie, who talked about her personal experience of being with the music mogul for over 10 years and some of the trauma that the alleged trauma that she had encountered and experienced while with him. And then the other is from his former producer on his latest album, Mr. Lil Rod, who is a music producer, who alleges that that Diddy not only got him involved in some deviant sexual activity, but has gotten others involved as a result of his proclivities, and more importantly, has done these from state to state, from everywhere from New York to Los Angeles to Miami. And so it has caused the federal authorities to open up a whole investigation. And we're looking at this situation, not just talking about the raid, but talking more about the cultural impact of this as we look at one of the greatest influencers of Black music over the past 30 years going down the way it's all going down. So joining me right now is my sister Tasha Love, who is a former radio DJ. She's been part of the music community and industry for many, many years, and we're happy to have her join me today. Tasha, thank you so much for joining me once again. How are you feeling this afternoon?
I feel great. Anytime I get the opportunity to talk to you, Farajii, I'm on 10. So thank you.
Oh, that's awesome. That's awesome. Well, I appreciate that. Well, you came up in my head, and then we had to make it happen because I was like, if anybody knows some stuff, it's Tasha Love.
Listen,
and she was for those who don't know, Tasha's been doing radio work and she's been doing media and music work for many, many years in some of the major markets such as Atlanta and other places. And she has a lot of relationships with folks within the music community. First and foremost, Tasha, seeing these images that we have seen, social media has exploded. Like when I got off the show yesterday, right? And I'm just, scrolling. Then all of a sudden, I'm seeing an NBC News exclusive. And then I'm seeing ABC News. And then next thing you know, it's all on the Shade Room. And it's on the Jasmine brand and all these places. And the next thing you know, I'm thinking to myself, like, oh, this is serious.
Oh, this is very serious. And before we begin, I just want to send my thoughts and prayers out to the community and the people of Baltimore as we move into this story here. You know, this was devastating to me. And I have to be honest with you. Yeah, like you said, you know, I've been doing radio and I've been doing media for so many years, over 20 years. I'll just say that. But you came into my mind. You and Olivia popped in the culture, of course, because I want to hear from our networks, right? We hear from ABC, NBC, CBS when things get on 10, but I need the real story, right? So I immediately went to you. I went to Roland. Roland was live because I needed to get our news from our culture, our network. So, you know, this is just like you said, this is deafening for our industry, the music culture. And I say that because there's three things I never thought I would see in my lifetime. That's President Barack Obama, a Black man as president. There is the pandemic. I never thought that I would experience that. And in my musical career, in my lifetime, and being a part of the hip hop community, I never saw the downfall of Bad Boy Records. P. Diddy, never saw it coming. You could have never told me that.
Can I throw another one? This is so off topic.
Yeah.
I would never thought that I would live to see the day. And I know this is completely off topic, but you talk about big musical moments. Yeah. I never see the day that we would have life without Prince and Michael Jackson.
Facts. That popped up immediately. I mean,
I never thought. I always, now even though Michael was getting older, I already knew that. But you know, I was like, oh, he's gonna be around forever. Prince is gonna be around forever.
And I thought that too. And I remember sitting on the floor when Michael Jackson's Thriller video came out on MTV. And I was so proud. My parents let me stay up that late to watch Michael Jackson's Thriller. And even with Prince, I got the opportunity to see Prince live in concert several times. And, you know, this happening now goes down as one of those memories that we won't forget where we were.
Here's the thing about this particular case, Tasha, because there are so many discussions about Diddy right now. Like, and I'm gonna be honest with you, part of it is like very disturbing discussions that I don't even want to get into on social media and stuff, because I feel like there has been some folks try to minimize how serious of a situation this really is, right? I mean, I saw on some spaces on social media that now there's the term "no Diddy," where people have replaced it with "no homo." That if you're talking about anything related to sexual acts, rape, anything like that, it's like "no Diddy." It's like, oh, I'm not that. But even to put that into the cultural vernacular, where we're using this situation as a punchline versus using this situation as an opportunity for us to reflect and to think and to learn and to say, what can the culture of Black music, what can a culture of our talent do differently, so that way we don't become a punchline of our own demise.
Yeah,
and that's what I'm saying. What's your take on that?
Well, what's interesting about what you said about the "no Diddy, no homo," like that came to my mind. You and I are such in sync because to me, it's insulting, right? So just imagine what it would be like to people of sexual assault. To replace that and make it a joke. We've seen the memes. I've seen the memes. I've gotten the memes. I've talked about the memes. But this is serious. What's going on right now with Diddy and Homeland Security is very serious. And we should all wonder what's coming down the pipeline. Now, going back to your question about what can we do, we really have to create these safe spaces. And I think that I think more conversations need to be had. And I am not against more conversations, more labels that are owned by females, more female executives in the music industry, more female executives that own radio stations, more female program directors, more female music directors. Men have been in these spaces for so long, and they've been, and I'm not just speaking men. I know that there are some women that are sexual predators. We discussed that before, but at the end of the Yay, we really do need to create safe spaces for music that lives inside of us that we're really trying to get out. We hear such tragedies 20, 10, 30 years down the line, but what about right then and there when it actually happens? You know, and this thing that's happening with Diddy right now is pretty prevalent as to what's coming next within the music industry. A lot is coming, and we really need to brace ourselves because we don't know what this discovery process is what's going to come from this discovery process, because Homeland Security took laptops, phones, they took paperwork, boxes and boxes of paperwork. So if we think about this, what is in those documents, what's in those laptops, what's in those devices, because the feds don't fish. They don't fish. Okay. They wait patiently by the pond for the fish to jump into their net because they've got something. My dad's a fisherman. Trust me.
Hey, Tasha, I love that analogy, how you said that. They wait patiently by the pond.
They wait patiently by the pond.
We see you, but we just ain't gonna pull you out just yet because we want to make sure our net is big, strong, and durable. Because you're gonna bring a lot into it, and I think so. It is something. I got to take another quick pause. When we come forward, I want to kind of go back to that piece that you said about creating safe spaces, and this is why I don't want to get in these conversations without intelligence being at the forefront of these discussions, because these are major, serious allegations. Sex trafficking. Right. If anybody knows anything about the sex trafficking world or understand that underbelly of that sex trafficking, you're talking about any type of sexual assault and abuse, especially when it comes to boys and men. Yeah. When we're talking about creating a safe space for victim voices. So I want us to kind of talk about that, because that's the part of the culture right now, Tasha, I'm not happy with. We're not creating safe spaces. No, we're actually are demonizing where perpetrators are the victims and the victims are become liars.
Yeah.
And it's a phenomenon that is so prevalent within our culture that I think we need to discuss it. Folks, stay with us. We're going to continue the conversation with my sister, Tasha Love. And I want to hear from you. Post your comments on the chat as we're streaming live on Big Brother Roland Martin's Facebook page and his YouTube channel. Let's talk about, will Black music culture suffer as a result of what's happening with Diddy? Share your thoughts, post your comments, and stay with us. It's The Culture here on the Black Star Network.
Fanbase is pioneering a new era of social media and investment. This next generation social app has already raised $10 million and has just opened a new round to invest. For details on how to invest, visit startengine.com/fanbase or scan the QR code. Another way we're giving you the freedom to be you without limits.
I have something I want to tell you. I am running for president.
Of the United States? Holy.
I'm paving the road for a lot of other people looking like me to get elected.
Brooklyn's first Black representative.
You're about to make history.
You want to be president? You ain't no man.
Maybe we should find your mother. All you got is your one vote.
You sound just like every other politician.
Do I look like every other politician?
Truly, you can't win.
And why can't I win? I have an opportunity to make a difference.
This isn't a campaign. It's a joke. The only thing anybody's gonna remember is that there were a bunch of black folks who made fools of themselves. I'll kill you!
See too much suffering. And I don't know how to not try.
We're living it proud.
I don't think I'm special. I just want to remind people what's possible.
We need something that's going to make some noise.
The Black Panthers and Shirley Chisholm. It's like thunder and lightning. I'm going to force all the politicians to be held accountable.
You're gonna do all that. School teacher from Brooklyn.
Harriet was just a slave. Rosa was just a domestic. What is it you do for a living again?
The people of America are watching us.
Black Star Network is here.
Oh, no punch!
I'm real revolutionary right now.
Thank you for being the voice of Black America.
All momentum we have now, we have to keep this going.
The video looks phenomenal.
See, there's a difference between Black Star Network and black-owned media and something like CNN.
You can't be black-owned media and be scared.
It's time to be smart.
Bring your eyeballs home.
You dig?
All right, folks, welcome back to The Culture here on the Black Star Network. I'm your host, Farajii Muhammad. We have been talking about the latest situation, the latest developments with Sean Diddy Combs as we kind of piece out how this will impact Black music culture and so much more. I'm joined by my sister, Tasha Love, who is a former radio DJ. She's one of the key voices within the music community, Black music community. She's joining us live from Atlanta, Georgia. And Tasha, I wanted to kind of put some time on creating safe spaces for victims to be heard. And this culture, our culture, hip hop culture, is kind of like unforgiving in a lot of ways when it comes to this. And this is probably one of the biggest areas that we can grow in as a culture and as a people, where we are not laughing at victims, but we are believing victims, and that those in power who are alleged to be perpetrators, they're not seen as victims. And I've had so many conversations. You and I talked about this before when it came to R. Kelly situation, and I'm seeing even more now, of course, with Diddy, because I think this situation is much bigger than R. Kelly because of the impact, the role that Diddy has played. I mean, he wasn't just a talent. He was making careers. He was building careers. He was an architect of music, of Black music, for so many years. But even more so than that, it's just the fact that we still have a problem believing the victims. And some of us go as far as to say, oh, well, she shouldn't have been there at night, or he shouldn't have did that. And we blame, we victim blame. And it does not bode well when you're talking about a culture that really, as much as the quote unquote Me Too culture or any type of movement that calls for accountability to take place, it hasn't truly hit the hip hop community the way it did. Do you think this is going to change those conversations, that it will essentially change how we talk about victimhood, especially when it comes to allegations of this nature?
Well, I think that's a great question. Unfortunately, I just can't answer that because this is bigger than me. It's bigger than you. And it is bigger than the hip hop community. As much as I would want to say, yes, there's going to be safe spaces and, open dialogue. Is it really? Because then at the end of the day, isn't it going to affect the bottom line of the music industry? And isn't the music industry just about selling records and getting, awards and accolades and, all those things? Take a look around. This is my career on the wall, and I busted my butt to get it. And, and thankfully I had a lot of help along the way. I had one great program director who was on my team, who believed in me, who promoted me. And then I had another one who was not so kind to me, constantly reminded me that I was a female, constantly reminded I wasn't good enough, despite hundreds of artists asking for me by name, asking what my opinion is on their music, as much as I want to say, and then made and constantly put me in my place. And to the point where everything that I thought I knew, I questioned everything. And now we have to question whether or not the up and coming artists believe in themselves. What was Cassie's mind frame when she was going through what she alleges against Diddy? What was the female producer going through when she was writing for Cassie? She now has a lawsuit. Lisa has a lawsuit. Joy has a lawsuit. Little Rod has a lawsuit. We're constantly reminded by people of power where our place is. So what do we need to do to get to that place of power so that way we don't feel incompetent in the positions that we earned, that we work for? So do I hope that the music industry will change? Absolutely. I think Queen Latifah said it best when she said ladies first. However, we also know Malcolm X quote that the most unprotected female in the world is the black one, most disrespected. So, it's not just women that are being now sexually assaulted allegedly, but it's also now men. And so are we only listening now because it's a man? Are we only having these discussions because Little Rod brought this to the forefront after Cassie filed her 30 million? Well, after she filed her suit and then got 30 million the next day. I mean, as it was settled, what are we really saying here? What are we really, how far deep does this go? I think that's the big question. And then what will happen in the future? But what I can tell you, based upon a previous conversation on our first discussion, our last discussion, remember when I said this, Farajii? I said, I bet we won't get another Bad Boy album. And I'm standing on that. Now let me say this. From Diddy's side. Now, if Christian and Justin want to come out and rebuild the label, that's a whole nother thing. I give it at least 10, 15, 20 years down the line. But now is not the appropriate time. I think now what we need to do is we can form all these coalitions, right? I can go, let's say tomorrow I go and I create a female music coalition. There's also NABFEM, which is the National Association of Black Female Executives in Music. Which I was a part of, by Johnny Walker. But at the same time, where are these safe spaces for females? Like, excuse me, but not just for females, but for men. How about we just be decent human beings?
Come on. I mean, look. I mean, that's Tasha. Look. Here's one of the things, because as much as I'm talking about the victimhood, here's the other part about it. We have to get out of our minds that just because you may see somebody on TV or you may listen to their music or you go to the movies and see their face, right? That means that they are inherently good people. Yeah. They are morally sound people, right? Like, because for a long time, we say that, and we see it on award shows and everything. When a person gets an award, they stand in front of all the people. They stand in front of America and say, "I'm blessed." I'm essentially saying, "I've been anointed to be in this position." Yeah. And as a result of that, because of this, and I know this might sound far-fetched to some, but I'm gonna bring it home. Capitalism, when you look at wealth, capitalism will make you feel like, oh, because you're wealthy, you're a better human being. When in fact, that's not the case. That is not the case. Just because you're wealthy doesn't mean that your character is better, or your morality is better, or that your heart is bigger. That's not the case. Capitalism make you, oh, he got more money, they're blessed, therefore they're anointed, and if you're poor, that you have the worst character. I want us to push back on that, because that's not true. Not true. And we can go down the line of great men and women within our history, within Black history, that are superb human beings, but they were not the richest. They were not the most prestigious. They were not the most liked. So I think that's part of the culture, right? That if you see somebody and they say, "Oh man, God bless me." Well, are you sure it's God blessing you, or is this somebody else giving you something? You know what I'm saying? Because I mean, last time I heard, the devil can also offer a little something.
Hello. Well, listen. If we take what you said, right, and we put this back in the fishing analogy, isn't what we see in the videos, like Suge Knight said, all up in the music videos, isn't all of this really a net? Isn't it really the net that attracts the young females, the male groupies, the female groupies, people in general, the hangers on. They want to be a part of that. So when we're talking about capitalism, we're talking about the billion-dollar music industry and how interesting and how exciting and how illuminating it is to people, because we want to get to that level to where we're known, to where we're number one on social media, to where if we say jump, somebody will say, how high do you want me to jump? Or what can I go and get you? At the bottom line, it still falls back to what our morals are, right? What am I willing to do to sell out myself? And do I have somebody behind me? I got a team of people, my parents, my best girlfriends. I've got family behind me that are watching me. And not only that, Farajii, it goes back to what you and I talked about. We got 10-year-old boys.
Yep.
What is my son? My son constantly says, well, mommy, can we talk about what you did? No, not yet, son. I need you to be a child as much as possible. And I'm sure that your son feels the same way,
Oh, no. Yeah. We don't have certain conversations right now.
And it really is about protecting the culture. It is about protecting the culture of music. It is about the integrity of music and bringing it back to the talent. And, for so long, everything's been so sexy. It's been so sexy. Like sexy's been that word. R. Kelly was sexy. Diddy is sexy. Cassie's sexy. We really need to get back to where the talent is. And I think that that's what's missing. I think the safe spaces are missing. I really do hope something comes from that. But who's going to lead that charge? And how deep are we willing to go with that? And who's built for it? Because you got to be built for it. You have to be built to take on that fight.
And I think, and you don't like my music, you posted something I really like. You say Black people aren't immune from the corruption of power and wealth. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. You don't like my music, you're saying it right on. Black people aren't immune from the corruption of power and wealth. I came across a piece earlier this morning, Tasha, and preparing for the show. They were talking about the close relationship of Diddy with Clive Davis, the music mogul and legend, who has founded individuals. He was the one that discovered Whitney Houston and many other Black artists. But Clive Davis, how they were essentially bankrolling his lifestyle. And I'm like, man, this thing, it gets so deep. It's like a rabbit hole in Alice in Wonderland. It gets so deep because you start to see the other side of people, right? And look, and I don't put it past anyone, especially if you're making that much money, you have this much power and influence. What's to say that you would not, participate in some sort of illegal or deviant behavior? I mean, we act as if that's completely out of touch, but because, like you said, Tasha, we have good marketing people, you got good people that make you look good on social media and all of that. We emotionally attach ourselves to individuals and say, you know what? No, that's a good person. They would never do that. When in reality, we don't know.
We don't know.
But if you got the means and the resources and certainly the time and the space, anything can happen. I'm not putting it past anyone.
Right.
That said, especially in the music industry.
Yeah. Well, you have to also keep in mind that other people are put in place to go and cast that wide net, right? So you have people that may not know what's happening. Hey, go get that girl's number. Okay, you go and get the girl's number. You thinking everything is cool. You know what I mean? You don't know what the real meaning is behind that. So while we have all these marketing people, we have music executives, they may not necessarily know the evil that is happening in that said artist's home. But I do appreciate what you said as it relates to the relationship between Clive Davis and Diddy. Listen, what really I'm waiting for Farajii, and me and you will have conversation, Olivia will have conversation, but I want to know what's going to come up in Discovery. I want to know what else is coming, because we have to look. This could possibly be a learned behavior based upon these allegations. Okay, so what was he exposed to? Because remember, at one time, he was the man, like he was the grind. That's the person you wanted to get your mixtapes to. That's the space that you wanted to be in. So if this is true, where did it come from? What was learned? What was he exposed to? Allegedly, if these things are happening, where did it come from? This just didn't happen out of the blue. Same thing as it relates to R. Kelly. R. Kelly will tell you the story and he'll say, well, when I was a child, my babysitter or my sister's friend or whomever touched on me. I had, relations with the older woman. Okay, so it was a taught behavior by an adult, an assault on a child, which then made him go out and allegedly do the same thing, right? So now we have these, discovery things and Homeland Security and the feds popping up. We just have to sit back and wait. We have no answers right now. All we have is pure speculation. We gotta wait.
We gotta wait. Look, I gotta take a quick pause. When we come back, let's continue the conversation on the other side with Tasha Love and you. I got more of your comments checking in. Folks are checking in from all around the country. I appreciate y'all for doing that. Look, stick around. We still talking more Diddy and the impact on Black music culture on the other side here on The Culture on the Black Star Network.
Fanbase is pioneering a new era of social media and investment. This next generation social app has already raised $10 million and has just opened a new round to invest. For details on how to invest, visit startengine.com/fanbase or scan the QR code. Another way we're giving you the freedom to be you without limits.
As bad as Trump was, his economy was worse, and Black America felt it the most. He cut health insurance while giving tax breaks to the wealthy and big business. He stoked racial violence, attacked voting rights, and if reelected, vowed to be a dictator and, quote, get revenge. We can't go back. As president, I put money in pockets, creating millions of new jobs, and capped the cost of insulin at $35 a month. There's a lot more to do, but we can do it together. I'm Joe Biden, and I approve this message.
Terry and I, we couldn't play in the white clubs in Minnesota. It felt like such a, strength through adversity type moment that I think Black people just have to go through. We have to figure it out.
Right.
We make lemons out of lemonade. But there's a reason we rented a ballroom, did our own show, promoted it, got like 1,500 people to come out. Clubs were sitting empty. They were like, where's everybody at? And they said, they're down watching the band you wouldn't hire. So it taught us not only that we had the talent of musicians, but we also had have the talent of entrepreneurship. It wasn't like a seat at the table. It's like, no, let's build the table.
That's right.
We got to build the table. And,
that's right.
And that was the thing. And of course, after that, we got all kinds of offers.
Of course.
Right, to come play in the clubs. But we didn't do it. We said,
no, we're good.
No, we're good. We're good. And that's what put us on a path of national. And of course, when Prince made it, then it was like, okay, we see it can be done.
All right, folks, welcome back to The Culture here on the Black Star Network. I'm your host, Farajii Muhammad. I'm joined by my sister, Tasha Love, as we talk about the latest developments in this whole Diddy case. His home was raided, and it was also announced to Tasha that his alleged drug mule, this is crazy, man. Like, the story keeps getting crazy and crazier. His alleged drug mule was also arrested yesterday, and this is a gentleman who claimed that he moved some drugs. It was found that this gentleman named Brendan Paul, he was taken into custody by Miami-Dade police on Monday afternoon at Opelika Airport around 4:30 p.m. Eastern time. The police were in Miami were working alongside Homeland Security agents when they made the arrest of Mr. Paul, who is an alleged accused mule that was moving some sort of weight, some sort of drugs on the behalf of Diddy.
Listen.
Rolling Stone, this is what Rolling Stone reported. But he was recently named in a lawsuit filed by the music producer Lil Rod or Rodney Jones against Combs, in which he said that Brendan Paul was being used by Combs as a mule, allegedly acquiring and distributing Mr. Combs' drugs and guns. A person close to the situation confirmed to Rolling Stone that Paul's mugshot was the same man named in Jones's complaint. What?
Listen, this is the first time I'm hearing about this, Farajii, which is why I love this show, because I'm not going to get this information anywhere else. But you know what? Listen, I am not certain who this person is. I have speculation based upon what I've seen online from unofficial bloggers, unofficial media, and I can only speculate as to your homeboy got something to make you feel nice. You know, I don't know. I don't know what he carries. I don't know who he is. This is my first time hearing this, so I really can't speak to this. But
no, I don't expect it. I'm just telling you, and I just only bring it up because
it's crazy.
It goes to show you it's how far-reaching the situation has gotten. Like it has started in people, and I'm going back to the point that you made earlier. Even though Lil Rod, because Lil Rod's, I mean, he is filing lawsuits against Diddy. I saw he filed another lawsuit alleging that Cuba Gooding Jr. was also a part of, had done some type of, made some sexual advances to him and such. But it started with a woman. And I want us to keep this in mind.
Yeah.
That even though Lil Rod is putting out certain information, we need to believe the women. I'm talking about Cassie. I'm talking about the sister who said she was 16 or 17-year-old when Diddy, and other executives and other folks in his team,
right,
gang raped her. We gotta change this, because this is getting ridiculous. That, like you said, you gotta wait until a man says something and then everybody will start moving and shaking. But Cassie, it was her that said, look, I went through some serious situation being with this guy for 10 years. And I know what some people would say. Well, why did you stay around? And see, that gets into a very, very slippery slope of blaming the victim, because we don't know the type of influence and emotional trauma and power that women go through. And I'm going to say that women go through, and some men who are involved in abusive relationships where mentally you don't even have the will to think outside of that, of your trauma, outside of your pain.
Well, I agree. And it goes back to what we said the last time when I said, why did Little Rod stay? Like, what was that? I mean, I still have my own questions, but who am I to question anybody else's trauma, right? I don't know what was promised to them. I don't know what was held over their head. Cassie alleges that there was video. Okay, that's a tactic. That's a tool, right? So that right there within itself is a mind screw, right? Because what it says is, I got you. And if you leave, nobody's going to believe you if you try to say anything. So again, we still go back to the allegedly word, which I can't wait to be able to confirm as opposed to allegedly. But I agree with you. We really just don't know. And as it relates to a drug mule, listen, they saw Diddy getting on the plane at 3 p.m. in Miami after the raids. Now, Diddy alleges that he was going to take his kids on spring break. We know Christian and Justin were at the house. Where were the twins? We really don't know if he really was going to go to Antigua. We really don't know where he was going to take those kids. But we know that the plane went there. Then there was a whole bunch of speculation that he was running. Then there was a whole bunch of speculation that he was, flying to New York, flying to Antigua, flying all these places. We really don't know. And that's the unfortunate part about it, because we're building, going back to the blogs and everything, unofficial media outside of the Roland Martin Network, Black Star Network, and the culture. We really don't know what's going on. But I will tell you this. I think that we need to pay more attention to what women are saying. And I think that it starts by, maybe we should go back and listen to what Dee Barnes was saying.
Facts.
Can we get that taken care of first before we start giving him a Grammy? Like, I'm all over the place with it. But again, I have my own issues with the hierarchy of the broadcasting industry, music industry, as it relates to male executives in positions of power. Now, Diddy is not the highest level in the music executive industry, right?
No.
There's more coming, or we want to know, why is he being thrown under the bus?
Here's the thing, though. Here's the thing, and that's Tasha.
Yeah, man.
Because here's the other thing, though, because we act like black men can't harm people. Even successful black men can't harm people.
Facts.
It's not an attack. If the man has a record.
Yes.
Well, NBC News did this profile piece of all of Diddy's legal challenges and issues. And this was about a month ago when this stuff started to come out from Cassie's lawsuit. And if you go back to the early 90s, this man has been involved. Now, this is not alleged. This is stuff that's on public record. But he has had his run-ins from everything from shootings to fights to people dying, all types of stuff. Right? Mm-hmm. And so it's not just like, oh, they just want to take down a successful black man. Come on, man. Like, look, let's stop it. Let's hold our people. And this is the part, this is the other part. Yeah. Hold them jokers accountable, man. Because I don't want to stand for somebody just because I like the way their feet, the music moves my feet, or just because I like the way they come across in an interview.
Right.
If the person has a history, that's what I'm looking at.
Right.
Now, it's one thing, this is his first offense. He just kind of got thrown into a mix. But it's another thing when you see a history of violence or a history of sexual deviancy, or there's some history there, a pattern there, then you got to start asking yourself the question, like, maybe this person is, maybe because everybody can't be lying, as some of the crew members say, everybody can't be lying.
At some point in time, it goes back to what Maya said, when people tell you who they are, you got to believe them. I think that we've been seeing who these predators are within the industry for quite some time. If we choose to believe it, then we do. If we choose to just, diddy bop our way through it, that's what we're going to do. I think that us having these conversations in these spaces really does shed light on how we are covering it up or ignoring it.
Or we want to save the perpetrator.
Right.
And then we make those who are actually victims come out as cross as liars.
Yeah.
And this is happening. And look, this is not only happening, you and I know this too, Tasha. This type of trend doesn't happen just in music or in politics. This happens within our own families, man, in our own communities.
Yes.
Where we can't even talk about Uncle so-and-so or grandpa, this person, or his cousin so-and-so, because guess what? They, no. What, you misunderstood what happened, or no, let's keep this quiet.
Right.
And sexual abuse, sexual violence, sexual assault, all of this continues to be a very, very destructive, a very destructive way to destroy the black family. And secrecy keeps that stuff alive.
Well, it goes back to what we said the last time. Again, you and I have covered this when we said it's important to have these conversations at home. I don't care who it is. I told my son, if at any point in time you feel uncomfortable around anybody, especially somebody that I have introduced you to, you need to come to me and know nobody's going to kill me. Nobody's going to come home, in the middle of when we're sleeping and kill me because you told anything. Forget that. If at any point in time you feel unsafe, you need to let me know. And my parents have also said that to me and made a safe space for me. However, there are other people's homes where they don't get that level of support. And it really goes back to the mentality, how beaten down, how downtrodden is the person feeling to where they believe that their abuser is their source for everything. For eating, for food, for housing, for clothes, for everything. And so really, again, it goes back to creating a safe space. But how do we do that? What is it? For me, again, it starts at home. For other people, and my girlfriends know this, my guy friends know this too. If you need me, say something. I cannot, if I don't know, I can't help. And so we have to encourage, I go speak at schools all the time. We do have to encourage our young children to speak up. And again, we also have to create that safe space for grown women.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
For grown
Absolutely.
And not deem them a liar.
Absolutely. Absolutely. We're going to take another pause, but Victorian Balcony Chronicles, thank you for checking in, Nick. You said facts issues never are ever addressed, and then you grow up and don't realize that you are still traumatized and it affects all your relationships. Absolutely. Absolutely. Look, folks, we got to take another quick pause. When we come back, let's get some final remarks from my sister, Tasha Love, and I'm going to share more of your comments. Stay with us as we talk about these latest developments in the case against Sean Diddy Combs here on The Culture on the Black Star Network.
Fanbase is pioneering a new era of social media and investment. This next generation social app has already raised $10 million and has just opened a new round to invest. For details on how to invest, visit startengine.com/fanbase or scan the QR code. Another way we're giving you the freedom to be you without limits.
As bad as Trump was, his economy was worse, and Black America felt it the most. He cut health insurance while giving tax breaks to the wealthy and big business. As president, I put money in pockets and capped the cost of insulin at $35 a month. There's a lot more to do, but we can do it together.
When you talk about blackness and what happens in black culture, we're about covering these things that matter to us, speaking to our issues and concerns.
This is a genuine people-powered movement.
There's a lot of stuff that we're not getting. You get it, and you spread the word.
We wish to plead our own cause. Too long have others spoken for us. We cannot tell our own story if we can't pay for it. This is about covering us. Invest in black-owned media. Your dollars matter. We don't have to keep asking them to cover our stuff. So please support us in what we do, folks. We want to hit 2,000 people, $50 this month, raise $100,000. We're behind 100,000, so we want to hit that. Y'all money makes this possible. Checks and money orders go to P.O. Box 57196, Washington, D.C. 20037-0196. The Cash App is $RM Unfiltered. PayPal is R Martin Unfiltered. Venmo is RM Unfiltered. Zelle is Roland at RolandSMartin.com.
All right, folks, welcome back to The Culture here on the Black Star Network. I'm your host, Farajii Muhammad, joined by my sister, Tasha Love, who has been a part of the Black music community for many, many years as a former DJ. She was also a VJ, as well as just working behind the scenes to help to create the culture that we have come to know and love so much. And I'm so happy to have my sister joining me as we've been talking about these latest developments and some of these big conversations around the situation with Sean Diddy Combs. His home was raided in Miami and here in Los Angeles, and now he's on the run, right? That's what some people are saying, Tasha. Like, I don't know how to really. It's kind of weird because I'm reading all these different reports. I don't know whether he's running or he's just been held, and there's so many. And again, there's still a lot of unanswered questions about his whereabouts, about how he's moving, and all of that has happened over these past 24 hours. But this is a very, very serious situation. And my only hope is that we can have some nuanced conversations within the culture about everything from sexual activity, sexual assault, to victimhood, to talking about the role of the importance of having Black executives and understanding and respecting young Black artists and independent artists. Like, there's so many things that come from this because of Diddy's influence over these past 30 years. And it's very sad. Like, we're hearing all these details, but I want it to be clear to our watchers today that we got to look at the facts for what they are.
Right.
Tasha said it, and I'm going to say it to the end of this year. See things as they are, not what you hope and wish for them to be.
Facts.
And if this, even though these are some serious allegations, now the feds are not going to bust into your house off of a hunch.
No, they're not. And not only
serious.
that, but what we also can't do though is we can't assume that this is related to Little Rod, right? Because the feds don't move on our timeline. They have their own timeline. They have their own timeline. And this has been going on for quite some time. But guess what? We're not in the loop. You know, they know what they're searching for. They know what they're looking for. And then as it relates to your question about where Diddy is, I don't know.
I don't know.
But what I will say is that there have been no criminal charges against him. So quite honestly, he could go to and fro wherever he wants to go. The last time that we've seen him, thanks to another industry entertainment magazine, they have footage of him and their topic was their headline was, "We got Diddy pacing back and forth in front of the airport." And I watched the video and I was like, he just seems like he's on the phone. I walk around when I'm on the phone, and
he look. I don't know though, Tasha, because he looked quite like.
Well, I was going to say, wait, now, what I was going to say is, now he looked like he was on the phone, but it looked like it was a very intense conversation. And you could kind of hear the conversation, but this is after your children have been detained. Your children were sitting in handcuffs. Quite honestly, I'm a New Yorker, I talk with my hands. I would be flailing my arms, having serious expressions of anger. But I don't know where he is. You know, the last speculation is that he's in Miami. I personally would not have gone to Antigua, where his plane is, and my children have been detained in LA. I would be on a flight going to LA to go comfort my children. And I want to also point out that's, you know, we still have to go back to what Christian's mom, Misa, when all this dropped out, first thing she said was, "Not my son." So you can't tell me that mom didn't get on a plane and go to LA to go find her son, or tell him pack a bag and come home. So we really don't, you know, we really don't know where he is. All we know is that there's a much bigger issue, which means I'll be back. To talk to you some more about it, but yeah, I think maybe this opens the door for a deeper conversation, for a better organization to come forth that will protect victims.
And I agree. Do you think that we will see, you know, now, and of course 50 Cent, who has been trolling and has been really he's been kind of leading the charge against, you know, making sure that this stuff is coming up. I saw that he was trolling Jay-Z and saying, "Hey, oh, Jay-Z is involved. Where's Jay-Z?" And now it's like it's getting to be this other thing. How do we kind of bounce back from this? Because you and I know, we work in this industry. A lot of people, regardless of hearing these stories, may hear, you know, they might read the lawsuits. These people still want to be a part of the industry. People come out to Los Angeles, to Hollywood to become big superstars. Atlanta now, right? Atlanta is huge now. I have a lot of my friends that have moved from Baltimore to Atlanta now. I'm the very few that moved to Los Angeles, right? They're like, "Boy, you need to come down to Atlanta." And I'm like, "Look, I love LA, so I'm good." But my thing is, at this point, do you think that pipeline, and more importantly, that motivation is going to end? That people are going to, especially parents, right? Parents of young girls or younger women, parents of these young guys who are trying to get into the music industry. How does all of this play out? I mean, yeah, we know about a Harvey Weinstein. We know about all of those things. But this is Black culture here, right here. Diddy represents Black culture. He represented the quote unquote the best of Black culture when he did great things. And now he's representing some of the underbelly of Black culture, and as it relates to power and wealth and corruption. So how do we make sure that the pipeline doesn't continue to kind of feed this type of machine of abuse that we are seeing right now?
You can't. It's all ego. But I'm going to speak to the 3 points that you made. The first one about Jay-Z. Listen, my favorite Jay-Z album is Reasonable Doubt. No question. Down. So you know, if we take a look at the way these album titles are going, it's kind of forthtelling. So I don't know what the plans are in the pipeline as it relates to other artists. Now, when we start to talk about, you know, what do we see coming out of all of this in the music industry? Well, there was a movie, Who Got the Juice, you know.
Right.
Tupac got killed, somebody else got the juice. And you have to understand, when you knock off the biggest peg, there's room now for somebody else to come through. You know? And do they do it the same way? Do they follow the same formula? What were they taught? What was their experience in coming up? Do they do things differently? You know, I like I said before, I had a great boss at one point in time, Tony Brown, who really taught me the music industry. Then I had another guy who wasn't so nice, who took that particular position, and he tore me down as it relates to my career. And it took me to speak to people who know me to say, no, Tasha, you knew what you were talking about. All the artists really appreciate your positive feedback and what you have to say. And then they appreciate the realness that you brought as it relates to their music. If you didn't like it, you didn't like it. You didn't play it. But we have to understand who the teachers are in this game. And we have to hold those teachers accountable.
That's right.
Because all of this is a learned behavior. It is like having a good boss versus having a bad boss. A bad boss is not a leader. A good boss is a leader. He's the one rolling up his sleeve and getting in the trenches. So, you know.
So here's the thing, though. Here's my only thing to that. And I know we got to take another quick pause.
Yeah.
Here's my only thing to that, right? And I got to bring you back on. Don't worry, Tasha. I'll bring you back on, right? But here's my only thing, because when people hear that, they say, oh, it's a learned behavior, therefore he should not be held as accountable. He should not feel the consequence. No, and I know you're not saying that. I'm just making a point that at the end of the day, just like if we talk about R. Kelly, talk about any of men who have gotten into abusing children, abusing men, abusing women, at the end of the day, these are grown ass men who know the difference between right and wrong. That's all it comes down to. Now, if they were abused, if they were taught this how to abuse, at the end of the day, they still have the ability to determine right from wrong.
Correct. And I believe in castration. So let me say that.
Okay. That's another conversation, Tom.
Right. But if it were your son or if it were my son,
I get it. No, trust me. Trust me. Look. I don't go easy on this. I don't give a damn about your status. I damn sure don't care about what's in your bank account. Right. You see what I'm saying? Like, at the end of the day, you can tell me, like, man, I went through a rough childhood. Yeah, pick a number, bro.
Right. And that is not an excuse for you to behave this way.
Matter of fact, hey, Tasha, that should be the first motivating factor to make you not do it.
That's right. It should be the catalyst for you to get help, seek therapy. There are a ton of resources out here that we know of that will help. You know, we just have to create that listening space in order to make it possible.
There it is. My sister Tasha Love. Tasha, how can people find you and keep up with the work that you're doing?
Well, you can find me on the X platform, formerly known as Twitter, under Tasha Dime Peace. Peace is with a PC, Tasha Dime Peace Love. And you can also find me on Instagram under Tasha Love Style. But most importantly, you can find me here with you, Farajii.
Hey, look, it's already done. You coming back on. Tasha Love, my sister, checking in as we talk about Diddy. And of course, we'll continue to have her on as more developments around this case comes out. But Tasha, thank you so much for your time. And thank you for being so good for the culture. I truly appreciate you. Absolutely. All right, folks, we got to take a quick pause. When we come forward, let's talk about the Sweet Jazz Festival and how one singer is using her voice to not just to entertain, but also to empower the next generation. Stay with us. That conversation is up next here on The Culture on the Black Star Network.
Fanbase is pioneering a new era of social media and investment. This next generation social app has already raised $10 million and has just opened a new round to invest. For details on how to invest, visit startengine.com/fanbase or scan the QR code. Another way we're giving you the freedom to be you without limits.
You have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can and will be used against you in a court of law. You have the right to an attorney, and if you cannot afford an attorney, one will be appointed for you.
When you talk about blackness and what happens in black culture, we're about covering these things that matter to us, speaking to our issues and concerns.
This is a genuine people-powered movement.
There's a lot of stuff that we're not getting. You get it, and you spread the word.
We wish to plead our own cause. Too long have others spoken for us. We cannot tell our own story if we can't pay for it. This is about covering us. Invest in black-owned media. Your dollars matter. We don't have to keep asking them to cover our stuff. So please support us in what we do, folks. We want to hit 2,000 people, $50 this month, raise $100,000. We're behind 100,000, so we want to hit that. Y'all money makes this possible. Check some money orders. Go to P.O. Box 57196, Washington, D.C. 20037-0196. The Cash App is $RM Unfiltered. PayPal is R Martin Unfiltered. Venmo is RM Unfiltered. Zelle is Roland@RolandSMartin.com.
All right, folks, welcome back to The Culture here on the Black Star Network. I'm your host, Farajii Muhammad. Thank you so much for tuning in. As we close out today's show, let's close it out on a very, very high note. And I'm saying that with all, what is that, as literal as possible. As we are joined by my sister, she's a singer and songwriter, and she is coordinating the efforts around the upcoming Sweet Jazz Festival. My sister, Tracy Hamlin, is joining us right now here on The Culture. Tracy, good afternoon. How are you today?
Good afternoon. I'm fabulous. Thank you so much for allowing me to be on your platform today. So thank you. I really appreciate
absolutely. Tracy, thank you. Thank you so much for being with us here. Let's talk about the work that you're doing with the Sweet Jazz Festival. First and foremost, you're an artist yourself, so you know what it means, and you have a phenomenal voice. But you're taking the genre to the next level because you're leading the way to host the Sweet Jazz Festival, which is not just about getting people entertained through music, but it does like have a party with a purpose where you're empowering the next generation as well. Talk to us about that.
Absolutely. Well, my story is when I couldn't get a record deal, I started my own record label. When I didn't get booked for gigs, I became a promoter, started and created my own events. And when I didn't get booked for festivals, I created the Sweet Jazz Festival. And what I love about my path pursuing a career as a singer is that it led me to it allowed me to pursue my passion, but also allowed me to find my purpose, which is giving back to my community. So along with bringing in amazing international recording artists, we use music as a force to give back to the community. So with our 2-day upcoming festival on April 19th and 20th, we're going to give away 4 music scholarships and 2 donations to local charities. One is the Young Kings Movement. They groom young boys and teenagers to become leaders. They groom them for success. And the second one is the Tiger Lily Foundation, which is an organization that brings awareness and creates resources for women with breast cancer.
That is awesome. Let's put that website back up on the screen. Again, folks, you can get more information at sweetjazzfestival.com.
Yes.
This great jazz festival is going to be happening on April 19th through the 20th. If you're in Loudoun County, Virginia, just outside of DC, actually.
Yeah, not far, 25 miles.
Say it again.
It's just 25 miles from DC. Just
25 miles from DC. That's right. And
yes.
You'll be able to hear the sights and sounds of our sister Tracy Hamlin and so many other phenomenal jazz and music artists. And this is we just got finished talking about Diddy and black music culture. It's so disturbing, and we don't have to talk about it with you, but I definitely want to get your sense of empowering the next generation of black music artists, right? And making sure that they understand that that their artistry does not give them a press pass or any type of pass for them to not be decent human beings. How do you help to the next generation to understand that their artistry is their artistry, but who they are still matters?
Yeah, this is, oh my goodness, I could talk about this forever. One of the things that I believe is so important is that these young artists today, they don't understand that the music business is a business. And for me, pursuing a career as a singer, when I tell you it saved my life, it changed my life. But I think it's important for people not to look for the easy way out, and they have to understand it's time for them to roll their sleeves up. And in this day and time with the internet, it's so much easier for you to be able to basically create your own path, because that is what I have done. I mean, I performed in 58 countries. I have 7 albums all on my own label, and I created my path so that nobody can hold anything over my head or dictate to me how I do things. And another important thing is that these artists, they need to, I think it's very important for them to continue to perfect their crafts, but understand you can't be willing to wear one hat. I mean, I'm a singer, I'm the record label, I'm a promoter. Now, folks don't have to do all the different things that I do, but you have to be willing to stretch yourself, you know, and you have to be willing to invest in yourself and take the risk, because that is the, you know, one of the best ways for you to maintain control. Like, for instance, I own all the masters. The music that I've done. So I haven't put myself in a position where I had to be compromised, because I have consistently led the way and did things on my terms.
And I mean, and I'm glad that you brought that up, Tracy, because I'm reading and I've heard that there are a lot of artists that now have taken the independent route. Right. You know, and I'm talking about some of your major artists from different genres that have taken on the independent route. Right. Is this a sign that this is the way for Black music culture to be preserved and not to be tainted by, you know, the bureaucracy, the corruption of the traditional music network? Is this the best route for Black music artists to take?
I think that it is, because everybody won't agree that it is the best route. I think that it is absolutely a great route, because when you look at everything that's happening in the news and how all of these artists are coming out talking about how they had to sacrifice everything in order to make it, as I listen to these stories, and I'm very much connected to all of that. I mean, I was a Grammy trustee for 4 years. I worked for Def Jam. I was connected to Bad Boy back in the day, worked as a promoter, working with some of their artists.
Wow.
And as these stories came out, what I realized was that I had been protected because I created my own path. I created my own destiny, and of course, with lots and lots of prayers, but I was protected because as I watch these stories and I hear from the victims, a lot of these victims I met at some point in time. And so I just thought, wow, I have been protected. And in all of my times of being frustrated because I had to do all the work, I didn't realize I was protected, and I've been blessed above and beyond because I've not been in any of those situations, but I was in all of those rooms.
You were in the rooms, but you were not on the table. You weren't on the table.
There you go. I was not on the table. I was not on the table.
You were not on the table.
Yeah.
Yeah. Our sister Shanna Marsh, one of our great culture crew members, she said ownership is everything. Lori Parks, you also said the same thing. That's what I'm talking about. Own your masters. I want to take a quick pause here, Tracy, and we're going to take our final break. But when we come back, let's talk a little bit more about the work that you're doing with making sure the next generation is supported. So we'll talk about that. Folks, continue to post your comments. We're talking to Tracy Hamlin. She is a jazz singer, jazz songwriter. She's also the owner of the Sweet Jazz Festival that's going to be happening next month in Loudoun County, Virginia, April the 19th, through the 20th in Loudoun County, Virginia. Make sure y'all pick up your tickets if you're in the area, but more importantly, make sure y'all stay tuned. We're going to have more conversation with our sister Tracy on the other side. So stay tuned. It's The Culture here on the Black Star Network.
Fanbase is pioneering a new era of social media and investment. This next generation social app has already raised $10 million and has just opened a new round to invest. For details on how to invest, visit startengine.com/fanbase or scan the QR code. Another way we're giving you the freedom to be you without limits.
Black Star Network is here.
Oh, no punch! I'm real revolutionary right now.
Thank you for being the voice of Black America.
All momentum we have now, we have to keep this going.
The video looks phenomenal.
See, there's a difference between Black Star Network and black-owned media and something like CNN.
You can't be black-owned media and be scared.
It's time to be smart.
Bring your eyeballs home.
You dig?
All right, folks, welcome back to The Culture here on the Black Star Network. I'm your host, Farajii Muhammad, joined by singer, songwriter, and event promoter, producer. She's a person that has done some great work in the music industry, our sister Tracy Hamlin. And she is a native of my hometown of Baltimore. There we go.
Yes, Baltimore in the house.
Show you. Show you. That's right.
Oh, I love that.
There's some jewels coming out of Baltimore.
Yes. Can I also tell you that I not only do jazz, I do R&B, and I also do house music. So, but I'm using the platform of jazz for the Sweet Jazz Festival. But yes, and I'm classical. I went to the Baltimore School for the Arts and Peabody Preparatory.
Wait a minute. Hold up, Tracy. Hold up. Because I went to school for the arts as well.
So did I. But I'm sure I came out before you did. But yes, I went to the Baltimore School for 3 years and, of course, majored in classical music, which created my foundation as a vocalist. And it's why I've been able to travel and sing in 58 countries and with asthma and allergies, not have any vocal issues because my foundation from School for the Arts in Peabody is absolutely amazing. Shout out to School for the Arts in Peabody.
Come on. Hey, yo, can we give him a little couple? We got to get Tracy some horns right now, because this is crazy. This is crazy.
Yes. So the Sweet Jazz Festival is my baby. I'm super excited to announce that Lamborghini just came in as a sponsor. And that is really, really huge because they tell everybody no from what I understand. So we're going to have 2 Lamborghinis on display on Friday and Saturday. So you guys want to make sure your face is in the place. You can get your tickets from sweetjazzfestival.com. And it's Friday, April 19th. And Saturday, April 20th. And when I tell you, these amazing artists are about to blow the roof off the place. And I will be performing on Friday night and Saturday night as well.
I'm about to say, you got to put yourself out there and perform, right?
Yes.
You got to put a little something out there. All right, real quick question from our culture crew, and folks are checking in. Mm-hmm. Cindy D, she asks if you started in hip hop, what made you turn to jazz? Did you start in hip hop?
No, I actually did not start in hip hop. I was somebody that grew up. I listened to all genres, even today. Like one of my favorites is country music because of the quality of the production, because I'm a singer, songwriter, producer, engineer. So I started out straight R&B. And the hip hop piece came because of management that I was working at the time. But I mean, it brought so many amazing learning curves. And because of my experience and my time with Russell Simmons and Def Jam, it really helped to shape the businesswoman, the organized businesswoman that I am today from that experience. So I dibble and dabble in a little bit of everything because every genre of music has characteristics in it that came from the genres before. And I'm always about growing and becoming better and stronger. So I listen to all genres because I learn a piece of something from everyone.
That's beautiful. That is beautiful. All right, I wanna at least let's pull up off of her website the artist that she's gonna have, because folks are asking, well, who's gonna be at the Sweet Jazz Festival? Is it somebody that's worth my time? I want you to name all of the artists that you got lined up for the Sweet Jazz Festival.
Absolutely. And when I tell you all of them, many of them are currently riding the top of the Billboard Jazz charts. We can start with Marcus Anderson. He used to play with Prince. He's an amazing saxophone player. He has his own jazz festival in the Carolinas. Jeff Bradshaw, who is our headliner on Friday night, he played with Jill Scott for many, many years, and he currently tours with Patti LaBelle. And how many trombone players besides Trombone Shorty do you know can sustain a solo career? So I just went to see Jeff in Philadelphia 2 weeks ago, and his show was absolutely amazing. We have Alton McClain, who is the widow of Skip Scarborough. Skip Scarborough wrote Lovely Day, Can't Hide Love, Don't Ask My Neighbors, Giving You the Best That I Got. And she does a tribute to him in her show. She also is the lead singer from a group called Destiny from back in the day, and her big hit was called It Must Be Love. So we're mixing a little bit of the young with the old. We have Karen Briggs, who's a violinist. She toured the world with Yanni for years, and Diana Ross fired her string section and hired Karen. When I tell you, Karen, when she performs, because I've done a lot of events with her, she gets a standing ovation after every single song. Yeah, another artist from the area is Art Sherrard. He has a huge following in the DMV area, and he's going to be the house band for Friday night, but he also has a set as well. We have Adam Hawley and Julian Vaughn. They have been riding the top of the Billboard Jazz charts. As a matter of fact, somebody called me 2 weeks ago and said they were listening to Watercolors Radio, and it was artist after artist from Sweet Jazz lineup. So that made me feel like, wow, I really did a great job of choosing these particular artists. So I'm super excited. They're all full of energy. So it's not going to by any means be a boring jazz concert. These artists are all about engaging their audience. They're super talented, and their music is absolutely energetic and full of quality and substance.
Come on. When was the decision, or how was the decision came to say, okay, not only are we going to provide this fantastic jazz show over the weekend, but we're also going to donate the proceeds to these two organizations? How did that come about, and how serious or how important is that for you as the founder of Sweet Jazz Festival?
Oh, let me tell you, they go hand in hand. And again, when I decided that I wanted to pursue a career in singing, I quickly learned that my purpose was to use this platform to give back, because like I said before, music saved my life. Music changed my life. Had I not had music, I would have become a product of my environment. And at 10 years old, I was absolutely headed down the wrong path. So I thought, what a great way for me to, even if I can just save one life. And since we started in 2018, we have given 12 scholarships, and we've given donations to 8 charities. And wow. And they're all benefiting. And so my goal is to sustain the festival so that we can give even more, because I watched the amazing benefits from these scholarship recipients. So the scholarship recipients, they also perform at the festival on the stage with these international artists. And we have representatives from each organization so that they tell a little bit about their organization, and they all receive the check. So when I say partial proceeds support the scholarships and the organizations, they receive their checks in front of you at the event. It's not after the fact.
There it is right there. So you're going to have these young scholars, these young up-and-coming artists to be performing on the same stage as these veteran artists.
The same.
Man, that's amazing. Folks.
Yeah.
My sister Tracy Hamlin, she's doing it real big.
Thank you
owner of the
so much.
Sweet Jazz Festival. Make sure y'all, if y'all in Virginia, you're in Loudoun County. If you're going to be in Virginia on that weekend of April 8th, 19th, and 20th, you want to make a stop by Sweet Jazz Festival. That's my sister Tracy, Baltimore native.
If you want to stay, there are hotel links on the website. And we have folks coming from California, Texas, Arizona, Georgia, Pennsylvania, Jersey, and of course, Baltimore, Prince George's County. So get your tickets, sweetjazzfestival.com.
Hey, Tracy, I got to ask you this, because this is how all Baltimoreans, we really relate. What part of Baltimore are you from?
Northwest Side.
We talking about Park Heights?
Yes, Park Heights. Yes, that is where I grew up. And then we moved to the Junction. So I know.
Walbrook Junction, I hear that.
Yes. Park Heights and Walbrook Junction. So yes.
Oh, you from there then? You really from there?
I'm former Miss Baltimore. I was Miss Baltimore. Hello.
I mean, damn, so what?
Yes. Yes. So we need to chat offline.
We do need to chat offline because you
absolutely.
like all like.
Yes, and I would like to extend an invitation for you to come as my VIP guest. So I'll definitely be in touch with you and get you all the information. Yes, I would love for you to join us. Absolutely. Aw, Tito, get him some tissue.
I mean, it's something. The light is in my eye. The light is in my eye. My sister Tracy Hamlin. Hey, look. Make sure y'all go to sweetjazzfestival.com. That's the website. Get all the latest news and information. But more importantly, that's where you can get your tickets for the Sweet Jazz Festival. There it is right there. Doing phenomenal work. This sister is, I mean, she is all about it. All about it. And Tracy, you are always welcome back here on this platform of the culture on the Black Star Network, because we want to continue to raise your voice and lift up the great work that you're doing, all in the name of Black music. And you know, you'll be phenomenal conversation. I mean, it's just so much that you are involved in. So, you know, we're going to continue to bring you back on and to show you support as much as we can. But I thank you for being so good for the culture, Tracy. And certainly we're going to talk offline.
Amazing platform. Thank you for all that you do for the culture. Thank you so much for allowing me to share about my journey on your platform. So thank you so much.
Thank you, Tracy. Tracy Hamlin, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you so much, Tracy. And we look forward to talking to you soon.
Definitely.
Oh man, oh man. Wow. That's what it is, folks. That's what it always is. It comes down to these type of conversations. And folks, I want to say thank you for all of you for tuning in. Big shout out to the online culture crew. Also, let me just acknowledge we got a number of folks who donated today. So big shout out to Donnie, thank you so much for checking in and dropping something in the bucket for Black Star Network. Mr. J Guns TV, thank you so much for joining us for the conversation. Apartment 306, I got you. Thank you so much for joining us for the conversation, dropping something in the bucket. And my sister Sandra Patterson, thank you, Sandra, for putting something in the bucket for on the behalf of the culture and Black Star Network. Folks, you can do the same thing. Go to our website today at blackstarnetwork.com. Download the app for free. Follow us on social media at Black Star Network. And more importantly, be a donor, like you heard all of our wonderful folks. Be a donor, be a stakeholder, be an investor in this movement. And we cannot thank you enough. All right, folks, that's going to do it for me. But I hope you enjoyed the show. Big shout out also to my sister Tasha Love for joining us in the conversation. Tomorrow, we're going to check in with my big sister, Suzette Speaks. You're going to talk about a whole bunch of good stuff. So make sure y'all tune in for tomorrow. Up next, 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, Roland Martin Unfiltered. As always, never be afraid to challenge what's wrong. Stand for what's right while being yourself in the process. God willing, we will talk tomorrow for another exciting edition of The Culture right here, only here, exclusively here on the Black Star Network. Have a great afternoon and evening. Peace.